Hey everybody, what's up? This is Heather from Pandora Amp.
And I'm Ara.
And we are going to walk you through our March 2018 webinar. And our best case scenario is that you fully understand how to use AMP in every aspect of your career to help you reach your goals and follow your dreams.
So the mission of AMP is to provide the best experience for listeners. And the way that we can do that is by supporting you, the creators, to have the most successful career possible. So the way that AMP does that is we're giving creators the tools to reach your goals. So your goals are really in 4 specific areas, and AMP tools will help you succeed for each of those goals. The first being singles releases, then albums, then tours and live shows, and then anything else that you're working on. And AMP is going to help you in 4 different ways. Again, we're going to help you grow your fans and audience, whether it's a single or an album. We're going to strengthen your connection with your fans. We want to help artists earn more money and give you insights along the way so that you know what's working. First thing, let's talk about singles. We want to make your singles succeed with your existing fans. We want to also break your singles to new fans in new places. We want to strengthen the connection with both new and old fans, and we want to capture feedback regarding your singles so you know it's working. We want to make your singles succeed with your existing fans. On Pandora, we want to make sure that when a listener hears your track, it's going to work, and AMP can be really helpful there. We want to make sure your existing fans, when they hear your track, enjoy it and have a chance to respond positively. The way to do that is using AMP's artist audio messages. These are simple voice liners that can be played before or after a track. These are going to help your singles succeed. It's going to give listeners personal context to what's going on and what music they're about to hear.
We have created this tool to really enable artists to talk to fans about whatever's important to them, and in this case, specifically talking about singles, the artist can be promoting the single, or they can just be giving background on what the single means to them, what it was like to record the single, and as Ara mentioned, these messages are actionable, which means the artist can tell the fan to tap the screen to take a specific action. Our average click-through rate for these messages is right at 2%, which, if you're familiar, is much higher than we typically would see on paid social or other audiovisual ads, and that really speaks to our ability to find the right fans to play these messages to.
Here's an artist audio message from Joan Baez. It's super simple, and what she does is actually cue up the listeners to understand that they're going to hear a new track. This increases the rate of a thumb and is going to help the single succeed.
Hi, this is Joan Baez, and to hear a song from my new album, Whistle Down the Wind, click here now.
So as you can hear, it's a very, very simple message, just introducing the new track. But if you look at the slide here, you can see it has almost an 8% click-through rate, which is really indicative of the fact that fans really enjoy just hearing from the artist, knowing that something is coming directly from them has a really, really powerful effect on what that fan then does.
As Joan showed, a call to action can be really helpful as well. Just telling the listener, thumb up my track, or click to visit my website can be really helpful in driving positive traffic for you. Next, let's talk about breaking those singles to an even larger audience. AMP can be helpful to make sure that more listeners know about you and hear your music. AMP also isn't just about playing a track once for new listeners. We want to make sure that they're sustainable fans in the long term. The way that AMP does that is using featured tracks. Featured tracks is a tool to boost your tracks to its new audience that are most likely to enjoy your music.
Featured tracks is a very simple but very powerful tool to accelerate the discovery and feedback that you get on brand new music.
This is going to give you more spins and obviously help you earn more money.
In order to feature a track, all you have to do is go into AMP and type the name of the track you wish to feature in the simple tool shown on the screen here. And during an 8-week period, AMP will put that track through a very powerful experimentational phase where we play that track for individual listeners when we expect they're going to be most receptive to it.
All an artist has to do is click featured tracks. In the background, there's really smart technology, machine learning actually, that is working to place that track to the right listeners at the right time. Again, it's all about getting you more spins and more revenue. Some data here will show how successful featured tracks can be. Again, totally free, and just with a couple clicks, you're getting more thumbs, more spins, and put on more stations.
To put that into context a little bit, the thumb up rate across all songs on Pandora is actually in the mid-60s, so featured tracks really boost the likelihood that the people hearing your song are going to be people who enjoy your song. As Ara mentioned, we're also just playing the song more, so you're going to get 25% on average more spins than you would had you not featured the track. And this last stat, 56% more seeds, is referring to the number of stations that your song is performing on.
On the left, the smallest circles, small thumbs, those are your biggest artists. The Drake or Kanye, for example, that are getting around 100,000 spins per day. As we move left to right, we're moving from large mainstream artists to smaller independent. And as you can see, when you feature a track, the results are even bigger for those smaller artists. If you're getting less than 1,000 spins per day, featured tracks is a really strong tool to help boost your discovery and get you more spins and more thumbs. Here's an example of featured tracks used by the artist Lund. As you can see, he was a small artist, but found great success, almost 200% increase in spins just by featuring his track. And the blue graph in the bottom right-hand corner will show a long-term increase in listenership that all started because of a featured track.
To put a little bit more color on that, you can see in the blue graph below that the feature period for the song Broken started right at that first spike in mid-June. And then you can see that the number of spins the track was receiving per day, which is what this graph is showing, sustains for a while and then starts to organically grow. This is exactly what we want to see with feature tracks because it shows that the track spiked during the feature period while we were gathering a lot of information about that track's performance, which then caused organic growth later in the year and then on into 2018.
When you're trying to break a single, AMP can help you strengthen the emotional connection to all your fans, both new and old. By using artist audio messages again, you can create an emotional bond with your fans. When you win their hearts, they'll be won as long-term listeners. The artist Max is a great example of an artist audio message that gives a simple but really deep emotional connection to his listeners.
What's up, baby? It's Max here. Thank you guys so much for listening to my song Lights Down Low. I actually wrote it for my wife and I proposed to her with it, so it's an insanely special song to us. You can click through now to watch the official video where we grow old together. I hope you enjoy.
So as you just heard, Max provides a really great opportunity for listeners to hear what went behind the song and also a little story about how it was really used in his life. That makes them all the more likely to lean in when they're listening, pay attention, and then respond positively to the track.
Listeners love engaging with artists, whether on social media or in real life, so artist audio messages allow you to connect deeply via Pandora as well. And finally, for singles, we want to make sure that you are capturing feedback on your singles performance. You want to understand that all the successes or maybe misses, everything's coordinated when you're trying to break that single. Make sure you're using AMP and Next Big Sound to get insights on your work.
On Next Big Sound, you can use a number of the different report types, including graphs and content reports, to see how your songs are performing on Pandora and even how your promotions on other platforms are affecting your track's performance.
Now let's talk about albums. We know that you have two goals for your albums. One, drive mass traffic to your complete body of work, and also to have the ability to promote multiple album tracks. First, drive traffic to your entire latest album. We want to make sure that we can get the most people in front of your work. The way that we can do that is using premium access with fans.
We just rolled out something called Premium Access that some of you may have heard of, and what this does is it enables all Pandora listeners, even ad-supported listeners, to access your content on Pandora Premium.
With Premium Access, you're giving any listener, even ones that don't pay for Pandora, free on-demand access, so they can listen to your whole album.
They can really dig in and listen to your complete work, which is an amazing opportunity for you to show off not just your singles, but really the album as it's meant to be listened in album format.
You also want to promote multiple album tracks of your choosing.
In a lot of other situations, be it on radio or on other services, there may be a third party deciding which of your tracks get attention from listeners, but on Pandora, we give you that power. And we give you that power through feature tracks.
By giving you multiple featured tracks throughout the year, AMP is putting the power in your hands to choose what you want to promote.
What you can actually do is for the first year that an album is released out in the wild, you have the ability to feature up to 6 tracks from that album, and they can be any tracks you choose.
And as always, we want to make sure you're getting the feedback, whether it's a single or now an album.
What we're seeing right now on the screen is a great example of how you can use multiple featured tracks to develop an artist. By launching this featured track, they started to gain momentum very, very quickly, and then the song ultimately peaked just after the feature period ended in late November.
Next, let's talk about tour. AMP can be helpful in helping your tour or just live events be successful. 1. AMP can be used to help plan your tour around where your actual fans are. You don't want to miss cities, and AMP can help you identify the best places to go. Next, AMP is useful to help market key initiatives across the whole tour lifecycle. Finally, AMP can be used to connect while you're on the go. First, AMP can be helpful to help you plan your tour strategy around your actual fans. As I mentioned, you don't want to miss any cities, and AMP can help identify the most valuable destinations where your fans are to make sure you're selling out at the biggest venues. Use Next Big Sound to identify the best cities in the US to visit.
What we're looking at now is a heat map that's actually generated automatically for every single artist that Next Big Sound tracks. You can see here this is a map of the United States with the different color-coded circles indicating where that artist is over or under indexing in audience based on what we would expect from that artist.
Next, use AMP to market every initiative from pre-tour to post-tour. These circles are just examples of what you could use artist audio messages for. You could speak to specific geos to sell merchandise, and also after a tour, wrap it up and thank a specific city for coming out to see you. Here's an example from a band called Vista Kicks. Remember that artist audio messages can be pointed to specific DMAs so that specific city hears you.
We are the Vista Kicks. We have a special show on Valentine's Day at the Troubadour in Los Angeles. Click the photo for more information.
This is a really good example of how a developing artist can use artist audio messages to connect with a very specific section of their audience. In this case, Vista Kicks is from LA and they were doing an LA show, and they were actually able to sell out the venue using these messages.
Use AMP to also connect while on the go. Sure, AMP's a great desktop tool, but you can also record artist audio messages mobilely with AMPcast. Share these authentic, behind-the-scenes content and build those long-lasting relationships with your fans. And finally, to wrap up, we'll close with any other initiatives that might be important to your artists. Use AMP for all artist initiatives. We want to support more than just your career on Pandora. We want to help promote your career. So there are endless creative ways to connect with your fans and make money. Here's an artist audio message from G-Eazy where he's actually specifically speaking about these other initiatives.
Yo, what's up? It's G-Eazy. Download my new free app to sample my album, see pictures, read lyrics, get new videos and content first. And you can download the album for free. Use the button right there on your screen.
Obviously, not all of us have the opportunity to create an app every time we create an album, but he's really demonstrating how enthusiastic fans are about further engagement with artists. Remember to use the tools on AMP for all of your initiatives before, during, and after the fact. Here we have a really great example from the band Moon Taxi of how they used AmpCast around one of their appearances on Late Night with Seth Meyers.
Hey y'all, Moon Taxi here, just sitting in the airport, headed up to New York for our big gig tomorrow night on Seth Meyers with guests Quentin Tarantino, Nick Kroll, and John Mulaney. Be sure to tune in. See ya.
And here's the one on their way back.
Hey guys, Moon Taxi here in LaGuardia Airport, about to fly back to Nashville. We had a blast playing on Seth Meyers last night with Quentin Tarantino. Be sure to head to the Seth Meyers website and watch their performance of Year Zero. Take care.
And finally, remember to use Next Big Sound to give you data on any of these other initiatives as well. Next Big Sound will send you automatic email notifications when there's a spike in traffic.
What they do is they sense when you have a spike in activity on any of your social platforms tracked by Next Big Sound. You'll get an automated notification that says, hey, whatever you just did on Twitter, it made a lot of people respond, so definitely do that kind of thing again. So really, to sum up, what we're trying to drive home here is that AMP is flexible and will meet you for your goals. AMP is here for you no matter what point in the album cycle you are. As always, we want to make sure you know that the AMP team is here for you. First and foremost, feel free to email us at amp-support@pandora.com. There's also the chat feature in AMP if you click on the icon in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen in AMP. That's all we have for today, but thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.